Hey, what's going on, guys? This here once again for the second video of the day. So this is going to be me going over my Atlas strategy for the start of the league. There's a lot of changes, especially for like SSF. I have never done an Atlas tree video before in the past, simply because I've always been an advocate of do what you want. That's what the Atlas tree is for. Do what's fun. But a lot of people have been asking. So I'm going to kind of show you guys what my plan is and my reasoning behind it. And just kind of like the early game, right? The early game of how I'm going to knock out my to-do list for the first few days, or like probably like the first 24 hours, like what the plan is. And then after that, you can go where you want, right? So first and foremost, Gravicius Craft got changed drastically. Obviously, I'm not going to say nerfed necessarily, because Gravicius Craft actually got buffed into relevance for a lot of builds. So previously, the Gravicius Craft, if you're not familiar, it was gain X% of life as energy shield. They took that out, right? Which is a nerf for some builds, but they actually change it to be a percentage of fizz taken as fire instead, which is a very, very strong defensive stat. And kind of sadly, now if you're playing a build that doesn't utilize Ghost Shrouds or energy shield, you want to farm Gravicius Craft when previously you didn't have to care about it. So that means we're going to have a lot more focus on Syndicate to begin with. There's also another big change to Syndicate due to divines and stuff, but I'm going to make a separate video for that because that kind of delves into like SSF crafting, and I don't want this video to get too muddled with stuff that's not necessarily super relevant to the Atlas tree itself. Anyway, so starting out, I'm probably going to rush focused investigation just because this will get me more June missions sooner. And then directly after that, I will go for covert stakeouts, which is one of the new Atlas passives, which will this will just give us a way higher chance to actually encounter June when we get a master in our maps, especially because I don't care about Einhar. I haven't done any beast related stuff since Arch Nemesis. I don't care about archaeology tour because I haven't done a temple in years, and I don't care about Nico because I don't plan on delving. So there's only one thing here for me to really take, and it's one that I really care about, which is June. So very good here in terms of Betrayal. For people wondering about Foothills Farming, because it is very efficient, I will probably do some Foothill Farming to at least get Elrion Crafts. In my test runs, I didn't go for Elrion Crafts, and it was very annoying, and I had bad luck actually getting Betrayal missions, even fully spec'd for Betrayal on the tree. So I think I'm going to stay in Foothills to try to at least get Elrion Craft. Hopefully I get it early. At the very least, I won't leave the Foothills until I have Gravicius on my board and Elrion in a non-leadership position. If you're curious, Elrion will always spawn on the base new board for a league. He will always spawn as the leader of research. So what I'll do is I'll farm Foothills until I kick out members to actually get Gravicius on the board, and then I will farm until I get a research hideout so I can kick him out. So that is the plan. Or maybe not necessarily. Maybe if I encounter him, I get lucky, and because leaders typically don't appear as often unless you've scaled that or spec the Atlas tree for it, which you can't do when you're in Axe, right? So they don't they don't spawn as often as normal members do. So if I get lucky and he pops up and I do get the Elrion minus mana cost crafts within, you know, the first few times I see him, then that's cool, and I'm not going to go the full distance on that. So it just depends, right? A lot of Foothills of Farming just comes down to how lucky you are, and that's how it is. If you guys want a like TLDR or like a short Betrayal guide, let me know and I'll put one of those out maybe today or tomorrow to help you guys along, because Betrayal, especially if you're an SSF player, Betrayal's importance is skyrocketing in 3.19. So it's going to be a very sink or swim time for people who have not yet learned to utilize Betrayal as a mechanic. Moving on from there, I will grab Prolific Essence, but not until I get some map nodes, but I do pick it up early. So pathing up through here. Another thing, Secret Stash, I will pick it up early, but not until I get some map nodes. So what I want to go for first is probably just up through Expert Reconnaissance and down into Commissioned Officer. This is just to get Atlas bonus quicker. That's really all that's for. Once I grab that, I'm going to path down to the left side here. And I'm going to grab Shaping the Mountains first. And after that, I'm going to start blocking off League mechanics, kicking out Breach, because Breach doesn't give me anything, kicking out Expedition early, This is contentious. Some people may not want to do that. It's completely fine. You don't have to block it if you don't want to. It's just that The monsters are annoying to deal with early, and I'm gonna care more about going through my atlas quickly than I am with some of this stuff here. And I'll go over, like, when you think about like currency and stuff, I plan on getting that from Harbinger early, not from Expedition. That's a personal preference thing. You don't have to do this at all. I will unblock it later on, but just not very early in my atlas tree. Then I have Sealed Domain. Legion is another one of those things. I will full spec Legion when I go to farm Timeless Jewels, but that is not at the very, very beginning of the league. That's a little bit later on, a few days down the line. So early on, it's just a free 2%, more chance to get harvest and stuff like that. So Abyss. Abyss is very big later on, but not until we get into around mid red maps, because it's how you farm your I-86 plus bases very easily. But early on, I will not block it until I get a Stygian Vise. Once I grab my first or second Stygian Vise, so I can like craft 2 of them at once from getting Abyssal Depths. Once I get those 2 belts, I will block this off as well, so I can increase the chance of other things that I want. And then I will, again, unblock it later when I'm actually farming the content. After that, we'll go down to the right here. And oops, I forgot to click this. I'll pick up Shaping the Skies. This is just, map sustain. That's what we care about early on. And then I'll also block Metamorph. I will block Delirium, and I will block Ritual. Ritual is really kind of not worth it unless you're like investing in it a lot, which I won't be. It's a lot of left side tree stuff. Delirium, again, this is like, I don't care about clusters. None of this stuff really benefits me, so it's an easy block. Metamorph is good for farming catalysts later on, but again, early league, this does nothing for me, and it's just really rippy. Not blocking rogue markers because we want to start building up our blueprint base ASAP, so we can start so we can start farming our alternate quality gems, excuse me. And then Blight's one of those things. I don't block it. I don't really spec it. I just run the Blights as they come, and I typically get enough Blighted maps to get a few really nice oils. And typically, I'll just run Blight. I don't spec for it, but with blocking everything else, you'll get a decent amount of Blight anyway. You'll get it pretty often. I just run Blight until I get enough oils to carry me through typically the majority of the league, honestly, and then I just block it. And then if I ever run out of oils, I'll unblock it again, and that's how it works. I don't really enjoy interacting with Blight, but obviously it's mandatory early on for annoyance and stuff like that. So yeah. After that, you have a choice. If you're struggling to sustain maps, you're going to want to go over and grab the shapings up here. And if you don't feel like you're struggling to sustain maps, you're going to want to go full into the Syndicate nodes here. So these minor nodes through here are 1% chance to get an additional June counter when you complete a map. Completing a map just means killing the map boss. And then the minor nodes here on both sides are very important. So Immortal Syndicate members in your maps have 15% chance to drop an additional veiled item. This is on both sides. Now, bribery is Immortal Syndicate members in your maps are 200% more likely to bargain for items, and Immortal Syndicate members in your maps are drop 200% more items when bargained with for items. This will give you a lot more chances to unveil, which means you get a lot more chances per mission that you're running to actually get the unveils you need. And then effective leadership, Immortal Syndicate members in your maps are 100% more likely to be accompanied by their leader, and Immortal Syndicate leaders in your maps drop an additional veiled item. Goes to say that this is just more unveils. That's all this is. It's a lot more unveils, chances to get what you need. Later on, you can unspec this if you want, but you will, like I said, I'll make a video on it later with Betrayal stuff and why it's important, but you will probably want to keep Betrayal nodes in terms of at least spawning them, because it's going to be a big deal in SSF this league. So this is the base. This is the base tree. Once you grab all that stuff, then you can grab your essence, or you can grab it sometime in between if you want, and secret stash. After you've got all this stuff, this is where like a little bit of branching off will happen, and it will also depend on what my needs are at the time. If I've been dropping enough currency, I won't pick up the Harby nodes. If I'm really hurting for currency, I'll pick them up. And then this is typically where I would grab a harvest node or two, but we don't know the current strength of harvest, and we'll have to see. I will obviously, from blocking all these mechanics and having increased chance to spawn mechanics, I will have done a lot of harvest at this point, and I will have a good idea of where its strength is or is not, right? So at this point, I'll be able to decide if harvest is worth it and if I want to put points into it. If not, then the next thing you're going to want to go for is essences, right? So for essences, you can path up any which way you want. If you're going for, this thing is so buggy. If you're going for harvest nodes, or Harbinger nodes, excuse me, then you'll like grab something on the side here. You technically don't need to grab this. It depends what you want to do. 20% chance to drop an additional stack of currency is really good once you get the node up here that can make them drop as a full stack. So if you decide to go for Harbies, you're going to go up this side like this and grab this, right? And if you decide not to go for Harbies, then you'll just take the short path up through the middle. And if you want, you can grab operations for a bunch of free Scarabs. It's 2 points for a bunch of free Scarabs all the time. And then after that, you can path up through here. Again, if you're not going Harby. If you were going Harby through this, you'd pick up the points here. And then you'd path up through here. And you'd go through first wave instead, if that makes sense. Anyway, amplified energies is pretty mandatory for essence farming. And essence farming is likely going to be the strongest way moving to 3.19 to craft here in SSF. So you're going to want to take as many essence nodes as you can. So, oh my god, it sticks on my mouse. It's so weird. So the node down here will guarantee you're getting essences in every map. The more league mechanics you block, by the way, also increases the chance of additional essences spawning. So amplified energies will increase them up a tier, so you get a lot more shriekings from that. And then after that, you will want to path out toward Crystal Resonance, which anytime it's shrieking or higher, it will duplicate them. You don't want to rush this because early on, especially in hardcore, you're going to be a little bit weaker, especially now that spell suppression is a lot harder to pick up. So, you know, juicing the shit out of your essences early on and then duplicating them is really rippy, and I don't recommend it in hardcore. And even in softcore early on in Leaguestart, if you're doing that, you're going to be dying a lot. It's not going to be very enjoyable. And then the very last one I usually avoid Crystal Lattice until like late game. There's 2 exceptions, or 1 exception, I guess. Crystal Lattice I will avoid until I'm super late game and I feel very strong and I can just like pump these down no problem. There's an exception to this though, in which I'm moving into like reds and stuff, and then I really need to do some essence farming, or I really need corrupted essences. I did this on my Bone Shatter boy when I needed to farm a ton of Insanity. Was it Insanity essences, the one that give onslaught on your chest piece? When I needed to farm a ton of those up to craft a tier 1 spell suppression onslaught on hit base on chest, you can take this, the Crystal Lattice, and then you can just run like unrolled white maps, like tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 maps, completely unrolled, since, you know, it doesn't really affect essence spawn rate or like the drop from essence, because the drop is guaranteed from essence, right? So you can just take Crystal Lattice and then run a bunch of really low tier maps completely unrolled and just farm a bunch of essences that way if you want to be safe about it. So there's 2 situations there in which I take Crystal Lattice, but definitely avoid Crystal Lattice early on in the league, in my opinion, especially if you're in hardcore. If you're in softcore and you're confident, then whatever. So then it would look something like this. If you want, you can just path through here, or grab this instead. I think the duplicated map percentages are pretty low, though picking up the 2% chance to drop an adjacent map is very good. And again, after this, you have to make a decision again. If you want, you can go on, there it is. Wandering Path. This is going to help you get a lot of map sustain early on. And if you want to go for boss rushing, if you don't care about any of that, you can go for Grand Design, which will give you a bunch of pack size. This is good for farming XP early in the league. And around this time, we're at 80 out of 132. Once you're at a tree roughly around this is where you're really going to have to make decisions on what type of bleed mechanics you're going to want to interact with and stuff like that. If I'm at mid reds at this point or whatever, I'm moving into red content, I will then unblock Abyss and spec into the nodes down here. Where is it? Where is it? They didn't nerf this, did they? Oh my gosh, wait, did they nerf Abyss? Can I not read? Or did they move it? Is this gone? How did I not notice this? Wait, Abyss doesn't give increased item level anymore? What? Okay, well, I'm glad I noticed this now. It would suck to notice this on Leaguestart. I didn't really read the Atlas changes. I didn't think they would nerf this. Lead Abyssal Depths, contain Lich, contain pack size. Yeah, they literally deleted that. That's insane. What the heck? Okay, well, definitely don't take that. You just keep that shit blocked after you get your Stygian Pies. That's crazy. That's gonna make gearing really cancerous, honestly, for T1 sub. All right, well, don't do that. Anyway, like I was saying, you're gonna have to decide what you want to do, whether that's speccing to Harbies, whether you want to start going into Expedition if you haven't already. You want to spec more into Heist, getting like Case the Joints really, really good for farming up blueprints for those, you know, those alternate quality gems. If you want to go more into Harvest, this is just kind of the point where you need to decide, especially if you're an SSF, what your goals are and what is immediately you know, needed from you, because in SSF you do a lot of respecking of your Atlas tree. It's really cheap and easy to do, but at this point around 80 out of 132 you're going to be entering like low to mid red maps, and it's just where you got to decide what your current objective is and move from there, to be honest. Boss rushing, you know, whatever that may be. Anyway, I hope this video helped you guys. It helped me because I learned of a pretty massive Atlas tree nerf that I didn't know of before making this video, so I learned something today. Hopefully this was useful for you guys. If you have any more questions, feel free to throw them down below. As always, if you enjoyed the video, leave me a like, thumbs up, share the video, subscribe, notification bell. If you need more help, I'm in Discord and on Twitch and on Twitter, and social media exists. Anyway, appreciate you guys a bunch. I am going to go make the Thunder video, so look forward to that. That'll be up in, again, about an hour from now. Maybe 2, depends on how long the actual video is. And I'll see you guys there. Hope everyone has a good league start, and I'll see you guys in the next one. See ya.